Hi everyone, I'm Natalie, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to do special effects makeup on a budget with using things from around the house. Special effects makeup is expensive, and if you're interested or a beginner or in theater and you want to learn a little bit more, this is the video for you. The first recipe is for an edible fake blood that you can use for theater or for Halloween. All you need is syrup, maple syrup, some cocoa powder, and some red food coloring dye. So I have about 3 parts syrup to 2 parts cocoa powder, and I'm going to mix them all together. Just start with a little bit of the cocoa powder so you don't spill it everywhere. As you can see, I have done, and there's a mess everywhere, and it's really great, and I can't wait to clean it up. I'm just gonna stir it in. As you can see, it's turning into a dark brown color, and it's pretty viscous. So then you add in your red food coloring dye, as much as you want or as little as you want to make the color you like. I wanted to make a dark red color to make it more realistic. It smells so good. If you weren't grossed out before, you will be now, because now we're going to make a wound to go along with the fake blood we just made. And all you need to use is some white craft glue, mine's from the dollar store, some sponges, and some toilet paper. White glue is a replacement for liquid latex. It's not going to look as realistic as liquid latex or gelatin, but it is a great first try for beginners. Start with a clean slate. Sometimes you powder down on the skin before applying any glue. I just started spreading it in on the arm and making the creases around the edges flat. Then you can apply your first ply of toilet paper right on top. They'll just stick right to it, and then I peel off the edges of the toilet paper that aren't stuck down to the glue. Once that's finished, I'm going to take the white glue and press down the edges to make it a really smooth transition from the skin into the arm wound. You just want really flat edges here so it'll look as realistic as it can be. Then I'm going to start building up the wound by placing glue in the middle of the wound and adding layers and layers of small pieces of toilet paper and letting them dry in between each layer. You can build it up as tall as you want it to be. I did about 4 or 5 layers this time around. So I put toilet paper, a little bit of glue, let it dry. Toilet paper, a little bit of glue, let it dry, until it's built up into a shape that I like. I continuously press down the edges on the outside as I go to make it as seamless as possible. So the white glue will get crispy rather than tacky like a liquid latex would. It is more difficult to work with and won't be as realistic, but it still does a great job on a budget. It took me about 15 to 20 minutes to dry, and I used a blow dryer to speed up the process. You can use any type of powder to powder it down once it's dry. I used baking soda and baking powder just because I found it around the house. You can use any translucent powder, baby powder, flour, whatever you have around, just to make sure it's dry and easy to put your paint on afterwards. Now I'm going to take a tool. You can use a scalpel, scissors, tweezers, whatever you have around, and just slice into the fake wound, making the desired gouge or open area that you'd like. I tried to make mine as raggedy as possible to make it look gross and kind of ripped apart. Then I ripped into the open flesh to make it more uneven and ripped and gross. Of course I missed the camera, but right now I am peeling little pieces out of my sponge to make an uneven surface to dab on the paint I'm going to use. What I'm using is a makeup paint, but you can use any kind of non-toxic paint on your arm or whatever you have around your house, makeup, pigments, whatever you have. What I'm using is the Ben Nye cream kits, bruise wheel, contour wheel, etc., etc. I'm making a light bruise around the wound, which is a little more difficult on the crispiness of the white glue, but I'm using a little yellow and a little dark blue to make the bruised area and blend it into the skin a tiny bit. Then I'm putting red in the middle of the wound just to base it out. And then dark black or brown into the deepest parts of the wound for some dimension. This arm has yellow and pink undertones in the skin, so I'm adding yellow and pink onto the flesh that will be covered up, so it doesn't have to be the exact color. It's very difficult to find the exact color, especially to blend it on white glue. Then we're going to add our absolutely gorgeous chocolate blood and drip it all over the wound, wherever you want it to be, whatever you want it to look like. This part is my favorite part because I get to imagine a story and think about what kind of wound it is and what would it look like, where would the blood splatters be, and where would it drip, etc., etc. I also used some of the red food coloring to make some lighter blood on the outside, and I used the darkest blood on the inside of the wound and had it drip out and make it look nice and disgusting. Now I'm just getting excited and going a little crazy, as I usually do. And next I'm going to take a little white color or a really light flesh color, depending on who you're working on, and put it on the top edges of the skin peels, just to give it a highlight and just so you can see that it is above where the skin is and that it's popping out. It just makes it pop a little bit and look a little bit more realistic when you add that highlight onto the skin flaps. That sounds so gross. With the lighter highlight color now, I'm just blending it into the wound on the skin just so it doesn't look so abrupt from skin to dark blood color. Just blending it in just slightly. You can use the lighter yellow colors or the lighter pink, depending on the undertones in the skin you're working on. I'm using a stipple sponge at this point, but you can use the sponge that you ripped little cotton pieces out of to add a little bit of texture to the wound, so it's a little bit more splattery. Now I'm just decorating it, and if I don't force myself to stop, then I will never be done. Here's the final product. If you want to continue your journey with special effects makeup, feel free to message me or contact me at Natalie Does Makeup on Instagram for whatever you want to do it for theater or for film or for Halloween or whatever else you can think of. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.